Hello friends, and welcome on in to another building tutorial video. Today I'm very excited to be showing you how to build your very own micro scale Lego Peaches castle. I had a lot of fun designing this actually as a gift for our good friend Mr. Bricks O'Brien. But today we're going to break it down, show you how to build it, and of course make sure you have access to some free instructions through my website. Let's get on in there and get this amazing little castle brought to life. A friendly reminder, as always, that you can find us live streaming on Twitch 3 times a week, doing all sorts of creative building fun. And don't forget to sub right here on YouTube as well, so you can catch building tutorials and more. So our micro scale Lego Peaches castle includes about 273 pieces, and I did my best to design it, keeping in mind that it doesn't have too many like very new or very hard to find pieces. So you should have a reasonable time, putting an order together on BrickinNick using the studio file that I'm going to provide to be able to build your own if you did want to do that. Of course, we're going to first take this apart and then start to bring it back to life and highlight some of our favorite details along the way. So let's get to it. We now have all 273 pieces of Peaches Castle laid out. Let's get in there and get it built once again. So we've got a little bit of an interesting base going on here, and I'm pretty sure I fixed this up a lot in the actual digital model. So our instructions aren't nearly as complicated as this physical build is. I just kind of work with whatever pieces I got, but when I'm doing the digital model for the instructions, I try and think about what pieces are going to be, most likely very easily accessible for folks. So you'll find that the base is a lot less complicated than what I've done here. Are matching like a lot of the pieces here to the colors of stuff that goes above them. Even in the instructions, these two pieces here are actually in mediums where they exist. I just don't physically have them. So again, kind of working within what we have available to us. Don't ever let little details like that kind of hold you back from finishing a project. I think that's a silly way to go about Lego building, You want to make sure, of course, you're pushing down well on all these bits too. I thought medium azure also worked well for the watercolor, nice and bright. I tried transparent on it, but I found it was a little bit too much. It was kind of like over detailing the micro scale build. And I like just kind of having the texture of studs almost acting as like waves in the water. So I thought this looked really good as is. Next up, we're going to get kind of the groundwork in here. And what we did is we actually used the profile bricks faced kind of to the back to create the texture of like ground or earth. Kind of looks like almost like the underlayer of like what I would kind of imagine like video game ground to look like when it's cut away, in a sense. We're using some little fence pieces here to create a little bit of a fence near the bridge, and that's going to be faced inwards. And then we've got our grass in and around the castle as well, of course. Little green flower studs to kind of represent some bushes that, of course, help decorate the grounds of Peaches Castle. Next up, we can actually jump to kind of the gray frame that we have around our thing. And the nice thing is this could also be built in black if you wanted to. And I think there would even be some other colors you could probably do it into. And just kind of working within what I've got available to me always seems to be a good way to go about things. So we used some of those little arches here or curve slopes to help create a nice rounded texture on the frame. I think it helps it look really clean. And then we're just using a couple of little plates here to fill in the space that's going to go along the side of the build. So we're just using some 1x1x5 bricks. Of course, you could replace this with 5 1x1 bricks, but this is a little bit sturdier. And this just kind of goes right down along the sides here. And then how this all kind of gets locked on the main build is we use these brackets. So we literally just line these up across the front and the back. And then the last thing we do before we put this on is we're actually going to use just some gray plates underneath the brown to help give a little bit of additional structural integrity. That way when you're pushing down from the top of the build, there's actually some support underneath it and it's not an entirely hollow area underneath the build. And then we can now go like so. And like so. And we've got a beautiful clean gray base wrapping around our build now. And we can start to get to work on the castle. So we're once again using a tan brick here to help create some texture. We're gonna start to build out our little bridge. So we're using some brackets here with some of the quarter round tiles to help kind of give us a little bit of a bridge shape. And then we have a jumper here, which could be replaced with a tile, but this is actually a nice little spot for us to put Mario. If you wanted Mario right at the front here on the grass, you could just have these be just tiles. We're now going to fill in the back area here. We of course want to make sure you get a little bit of brick texture going underneath the castle. And then we're using these awesome little arches to help imply that there's some kind of arches holding up part of the castle. I do wish there was like a kind of half, like a different sizing of this. That would, I think it would work a little bit better for what we're looking here, but this is kind of what I felt gave the best look for what we needed. And we're just gonna seal up this middle area in tan. And then we've got some filler work to do. We've then got a tile to kind of lock the bridge to the main part of the build. And then we've just got some snot bricks here, which is gonna allow us to add some details a little bit later to the outside of the castle. Then to help create some of the little turrets that kind of stick out from the main build, we're using these rounded bricks, which have a little bit more of a texture to them, to help us kind of just have some towers sticking out from the main build. And I just like having different types of textures to mix up the build a little bit. You know, just give a little bit more visual variety to it. Then we use some Technic bricks with some 1x1 rounds with holes in them to create the windows. I like the way these look because they kind of give the build a little bit more depth. And then at this point, this is a good time to bring our tiny little micro scale Mario to life. So we're just gonna do some studs here of various shapes and sizes, and then one of the modified tiles to create a tiny little Mario who can stand on the bridge here. Boop. And then for the door, we're actually using a little window design, but this little piece I've always thought looks like a door. I'm pretty sure Lego's even used this as a micro scale door in some of their sets in the past. But obviously I think it works really well here for the entrance to Peach's castle. And we're gonna fill in front of that with an arch. And then we're gonna use some snot bricks here on the back to allow us to actually cover up that area afterwards. So we have a little bit of a cleaner back for the build. And we're using the round 1x2 plates here, so that for the little towers that stick off, and we're actually like kind of emulating the four corners of the castle by just having two little towers kind of popping off the back here, and get to the details that are flanking right beside the door here. We're just using some modified tiles to help give some shaping to this, make it kind of look like a rounded planter, and boom, that looks really, really nice. Is an awesome way to add some detail to the front of the castle. We're going to continue doing that with some little towers here, and I'm taking advantage of some newer pieces, the little roof slopes here, to add some more visual variety to some of the towers. 4 flags would go into the top of these, and I'll actually show you at the end of the build that I did figure out some potential alternatives. I don't have the pieces to really execute on it, especially for the design that I like best, but if you wanted to have something available right away, you could try one of these out. I did not include them in the instructions as well, so just keep that in mind. Some slopes of various sizes that are going on top of all these plates, as well as some regular bricks. So now we just need to fill in the middle section on top. We're using some more brackets here to allow us to add some fun detailing. This is actually going to be the little railing in front of the mosaic or stained glass window of Peach. We're just using some little claws here, give you some shaping. We're then going to fill in the space at the back here with some 1x4 plates, ensuring that we can connect the middle stud of the little like arch window frame into the middle of this 1x4 plate. And then we're going to start adding the details that create the little stained glass Peach. Interlocking a couple of different shades of blue because I thought that looked really, really nice to create the stained glass effect. And that's going to go kind of right behind where our adorable little micro scale Princess Peach is going to go. And we're just using a very similar technique to what we did for Mario. Some dark pink on the bottom, some lighter pink on top, then some tan for the head and some yellow for her hair. Fill in beside that, giving some architectural detail to the area around the little stained glass window. Honestly, I find a lot of the times like you could easily try and make this very, very complicated, but just using simple pieces to, you know, kind of match the shapes as close as you can works really, really well a lot of the time for these micro scale builds. And we used a jumper on the middle here. That way we could actually have the very top tower be a little bit more forward and slightly overhanging this. So we're using a round jumper here with a dish on top of it right in the middle. And then that actually goes in the middle of that there. And so it kind of overhangs just a little bit more than it would otherwise. So we're doing another dish to kind of create a little bit of a rounded roof look. You've got a cone here to create for more of a point. And then for the flag on top, we are using a 1x3 bar. I would actually say I think it would be better to replace this 1x3 bar with what I'm going to show you in a second for the flag, just because this can actually be really hard to get out. We're going to take advantage of these studs on the back to actually kind of close up this area so you don't see any of this, just with 4 white 2x4 tiles. And that is it, friends. Your Lego microscale Peaches Castle is now brought to life. For those alternative flags I talked about earlier, I came up with 2 designs. One that actually connects pieces to the build, one that doesn't. This one here would probably be something that more people might have the pieces to do. A white minifigure hand and a tooth piece. The thing with that is that it doesn't actually connect into the build, so you wouldn't be able to flip it upside down. But it doesn't look too bad. It's a pretty easy way to do that up. The other option, and the one that I like better and think would make the most sense for people to do, is you could use one of the new little like lipstick / marker pieces in all white. They're only in a few sets, so it's not necessarily the best thing. They might be hard to get off BrickinNick and stuff, but you can literally just attach a minifig hand to that, which you could also do for the top. And those sit in, like, they connect. They're not the strongest connection, but they stay. And I think those would look really nice if you had 4 of them going all the way around the build. So that is your options for the flag there. That's our Peaches Castle. Don't forget, guys, we've got free instructions and a digital model of this available in the description of our video. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed checking out the build. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you next time for some more building fun, friends. Have a good one, and happy building out there.